Okay, welcome to the May 4th Thursday chat. Before we get started, Faye, we have somebody new, so if you'll just introduce her. First, we have to unmute you.
I am muted. Okay. Rebecca Richardson has joined us, and I know that she's in a cottage. And actually, I met her partner the other day in Nosh for a minute, but maybe she can tell us a little bit about herself.
Go ahead, Rebecca. Wait a minute, we'll unmute you. Go ahead.
Okay. My partner and I were living in Nahant, Massachusetts together, in quite a large house that was more than 100 years old. And it was getting too much for me to, or I won't say it was too much for me to manage, but I wanted to do other things besides manage a house and garden. And that was where I had less energy, and I could not both have the freedom to work on my interests, which are really advocating for children, and also manage the household. So, and I chose Newbridge partly because it's really a pretty place to come. And I noticed when I was here that the staff was very kind and active with residents who needed help. I like to see that. And since I've been here, I realized I actually ran a nonprofit rest home that was developed by my church and located in Boston. And it was a nonprofit, as is this. And I knew the people who managed this way back then, like 25 years ago or 30 years ago. And so it's very interesting to me. This is, of course, also a nonprofit, but much larger. I just ran one facility, and there's, I don't know, 8 or 10 facilities that are part of this group. And I think it's really wonderful here. I really like the cottage, and I like the involvement of the residents and many different activities. And I like the purpose of serving people who have money and people who don't have money. I think that's a great thing.
So thank you very much, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're here every Thursday at 3:30. So we have a few announcements. Susan New Rochelle first. I don't see it. You see her?
Mute, unmute. Okay. I just wanted to remind you once again about the paperback book collection that's going to take place between the 8th and the 11th. That's next week, although we have already gotten some. We ask that you please keep it to paperback books, no hardcover books at this time. And these will be donated to the Dedham Library, and the collection is being done by the Outreach Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bob Brown.
Okay, so I'm speaking on behalf of the Appreciation Fund Committee this week, and I want to thank all of the residents, so many of the residents who have given generously to the Appreciation Fund so far. Thank you, and a special thanks to those of you who have given even more than the recommended amount on behalf of the wonderful staff that we have. But the Appreciation Fund collection period and the amounts we have to figure to distribute will be ending this weekend. So all you procrastinators out there, and there are a few of you guys, get on the stick and put together your Appreciation Fund donations. I know that you love how the employees have done during this period of low labor. They've worked their heart out. They're extremely deserving. Yes. And I hope that you will make your gifts in time for us to put this together to distribute to these well-deserving hourly non-managerial employees. And thank you all in advance for doing so.
Okay, thanks, Bob. And Marlene Yesley.
So I'm not asking for money right now, and I want you to listen to what Bob said and give to the Appreciation Fund. I'm announcing a save the date for the Scholarship Fund because on June 7th at 2:00 in the Great Meadow Hall, we'll be awarding the scholarships to qualified hourly employees in independent living and assisted living. You know, we've worked hard all year. You've made cash donations, you've bought raffle tickets, you've bought donation cards. Please come and see where your money is going. Last year, the first year, we had 8 recipients. Last year, we had 16, and we're expecting many more this year. So please put the date aside, June 7th, 2:00.
Okay, thank you, Marlene. Now, Josh Ferrara.
Thanks, Jerry. Good afternoon, everybody. A couple of things that I want to go over. And the first that I want to acknowledge and discuss were some recent dining experiences, particularly in Nosh, specifically to last Friday, Shabbat, and then this past Sunday. So some of you will know what I'm talking about as the experiences on those 2 particular nights did not meet expectations and did not go as planned. So I just wanted to kind of acknowledge and apologize for it, and also just give a quick summary of each of those 2 specific evenings quickly. The Shabbat, we are a little less concerned with, only because we have identified that this was a one-off error. It was just missing forms from many residents who regularly dine on the Friday Shabbat night. I am deeply sorry for how it impacted everyone's experience that night, particularly those who had turned in a form and then showed up and we were not prepared for them because we had not received the form through our process and proper channels. So we are putting systems in place that will help us identify in the future if we're missing forms. It is not an exact science anytime you're dealing with paper forms in a chain of custody, but we're putting in some kind of flags that if, especially for residents who regularly dine with us in Shabbat, if we see they're not signed up, we will certainly check in and make sure that it's not an issue on our part, particularly for those who experienced that last Friday. On Sunday, this was something that had been kind of repeated the past 2 Sundays, and that's why it's a little more concerning. It's more of a pattern where we just weren't prepared for the amount of volume, and we ran behind and ran out of product. So we took this one, took a little bit more time and to address, and we have put additional people on this Sunday. We have upped the preparation pars, and we feel through the discussion and meeting of Tom, myself, and June, that the adjustments that we're making will assist us in not having a repeat, especially of last Sunday. So again, for those of you who were impacted, whether you experienced a long wait, whether you had to wait for food to come out or we had run out of something, I do deeply apologize and am certainly committed to fixing it and making sure that that experience is not repeated. One thing I will say about Sunday that we did identify that hurt us as well was the amount of takeouts at the counter service. So in the Foodie tomorrow and on this Zoom call, I am going to communicate that we will not be able to execute counter service for takeout on Sundays in Nosh as of right now. So if you need a takeout order from Nosh on Sundays, just place your order by 2 p.m., either by phone or online, and we will deliver it between the normal 4 and 5 p.m. In an effort to effectively serve the dine-in residents, we just can't also at the same time accommodate the walk-up counter service for takeouts. And I do apologize if that's an inconvenience, but it will help us serve our in-person diners. So for that, I thank you. And on a couple of unrelated items, you may have seen that you may have been asked to sign a receipt if you purchase an item in the store. We were having an uptick in disputed charges So to help offset that and make sure that it's we can identify what the problem might be, you may be asked to sign a receipt if you purchase an item in the store. And then finally, two new things in Nosh. If you were in Nosh last night and saw a cow walking around, that was not something that you were imagining. There was a cow walking around Nosh last night, and that's because we were very excited that due to our dairy dishwasher being operational after several months of trying to get that up and running, we were able to serve dairy night on regular china and not disposables. And we have heard from the community how that negatively impacted the dairy nights, having to eat off disposables. So last night and moving forward, dairy nights will be on regular glass china, silverware, and glassware. So we're excited about that. And we are slowly reintroducing the salad bar, which was obviously a big item pre-COVID. Now, slowly, I mean, we are only doing it at dinner for now, and we will be expanding options, but we just wanted to start off slowly for now. We did have to purchase additional equipment, but overall, the feedback from the residents that have been in Nosh, and they are really enjoying the salad bar, get to kind of build your own salad, and we will look to expand and make that more available down the road. Sherry, I really appreciate you allowing me the time today, and thank you everyone again for your patience and understanding.
Okay, let's pause for a second. Are there any questions? Oh, I see. Dean Marchbank, go ahead with.
So, Josh, are there provisions made in the store toward the end of the month so that there's actually frozen product there? Because last week, for 3 days in a row, there was basically nothing. And I realized that we're able to use our allowance throughout the month, but the fact is that people generally wait toward the end to eat in the dining rooms and then use what's left in the store. Over.
Yeah, Dean, that's a tricky question, and I can't commit that, that's a gigantic undertaking, and depending on how and when we get hit, it takes quite a bit to keep that stock. So there's a couple of things I recommend, and as we all know, the dining credit and trying to use those up can be tricky to manage, and that was meant to be supplemental if maybe one night you didn't dine as you usually do. We are seeing some orders, upwards of $150, $200 at the end of the month. So it's difficult to control that. We do our best. We look at it daily, especially towards the end of the month. But if an order gets delayed or a vendor skips an order, some of that may be out of our control. So we will do our best. I do recommend middle of the month, if you're getting towards the end and you know that you weren't here for the first couple weeks and you can kind of ballpark, start in the middle of the month. And then that way, if you only have, a handful of dollars, you're not trying to do the big orders. So Dean, we will continue to do our best. We'll improve, but I don't want to commit to say that freezer will always be stocked. It really depends on the rush. It depends on how big the orders that people are coming down and how hard they're hitting the freezer, to be honest with you.
Okay, Sid Josephi, go ahead.
The request to not do takeouts on Sunday, that's only for the dinner, right? Not for lunch?
Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Absolutely. Sunday, if you want the dinner menu for takeout, we just ask that you call or place it online by 2 p.m.
But I thought that's the way it's been for the last couple months.
So yes, it was supposed to be like that. The team made some accommodations during the week because we were seeing slower numbers. The problem is now it's carried over to Sunday. So Sid, you're not wrong. It actually always was our request is that we didn't do counter service for takeout, and we are going back to that, especially for now on Sundays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sid.
Carol Klingon.
Yeah, Josh, I couldn't get arugula at the end of last month. Shame on me, it's not your fault. But I noticed that they had it yesterday, which is the beginning of the month, in the freezer with the spend down notice. So does that mean I could buy those things anytime during the month if they're there and they would be charged against my food allowance?
Absolutely, Carol. Thank you so much. We recommend that if you, yes, you can purchase spend down items at any point as long as you're within the month that we're in. and it will be charged to that. So you do not have to wait till the end of the month. And I actually recommend that many of you don't, especially if you're finding your residual is this close to the same amount every month. Certainly come in the beginning or the middle of the month, Carol. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Judith Barzilay. I'll unmute you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So Josh, I just want to talk about the Copper Beach Room for a minute. First of all, kudos to Mario because he really does take care of us wonderfully. But I've noticed, and we go fairly early, around 6 o'clock, that many times there is not enough food in the servers, or, you know, just a few. There was no bread last night at 6 o'clock. Can you please appoint someone to notice those things and take care of them?
Thank you very much, Judith. That person during the week is Mario. The Copper Beach Room is a self-serve buffet, and Mario does his best to try to, especially during downtime, do what he can to support the residents and the service. But the more that he does that, the less his eyes are on refreshing the buffet items. So that is where we're running into a problem, and we are having conversations in trying to prioritize Mario to redirect, to make sure that he understands the focus is to keep the buffet up and running. And then if he has time to support, but really he is meant to keep that buffet up and running. Of course, clear dirty things when he can. But as far as full service at the tables, I ask the community to be mindful of those requests because if he's engaged in other things, his eyes are off the replenishing. And I know that Adriana and other supervisors will rotate in and support when they can. But we're asking for a little bit of, kind of in the middle on that, if I can make that request. And I will speak to Mario as well. Thank you, Judith.
Thanks, David Salkova.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry. Josh, with regard to the end of month purchases from the freezer, have you ever thought about a rain check sort of system where the charge is made by the end of the month and then it just takes a little longer to get restocked and people get their orders filled?
No, we haven't. Again, the end of the month was meant to be more of a supplemental emergency type, I usually dine, but I wasn't here the first week. It wasn't designed to maintain and sustain that. The dining credits are actually designed to be spent in the dining rooms and on the meals. So I don't see us trying to expand that in any way, if I'm being honest. And I don't want to give any kind of a false commitment to doing that.
I was just trying to suggest that, for example, you come to the end of the month, somebody comes, they want a specific item like some rugelach, and it's not there because you run out. You could charge them for 1 or 2 boxes, however many they want, and then when it shows up, then they could pick it up. That's all.
I hear you. I don't have a plan to do that. That takes additional manpower and systems, and I just don't think that we have a plan for that. I appreciate you bringing it up, and I can discuss it with others, but as of right now, there isn't a plan to adopt that kind of policy. It's kind of a first come, first serve, and we do our best to keep it as stocked as possible. So again, if I can make an ask to try to do some more shopping in the beginning towards the middle of the month, it's typically only the last couple of days where we see that run in that inventory being depleted.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think we'll try to move along. So we'll take Zalman or Sandy August and then we'll move on.
I was a little confused about what was said about the always on menu. Does that have to be ordered before 2 o'clock?
So so for Sundays, if you want dinner to be delivered to your unit, we're asking that we go back to having to place the order by 2 p.m. either by phone or online. It doesn't affect the in-person dining. This is for dinner takeout in Nosh on Sundays. Again, call Nosh or place it online, the order by 2 o'clock, and it will be delivered between 4 and 5. And that's for either the weekly dinner menu or the always on. Irregardless of what you're ordering, just place it by 2 o'clock for takeout.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. And we'll move on to Larissa Levich and then Rabbi Judy Ehrlich.
Thank you, Jerry. Good afternoon. I'm gonna try to redirect your mind from the food for your bodies to the food for your souls. Just bear with me. I'd like to talk about two upcoming concerts that are united with its theme. It's a musical celebration of Jewish culture. So one concert is tonight. We're really privileged to welcome cantor Elizabeth Shamash. And yes, the reason that we got this honor is the fact that she is a daughter of proud Estelle and Jacob Shamash. Cantor is renowned and loved all across the United States and beyond. And tonight we're going to have a pleasure to hear her favorite Jewish songs. I hope that many of you will come, join, and enjoy this wonderful tribute to the Jewish culture and Jewish music all around the world. And a week ago, I got an opportunity that I could not resist. I was approached by 3 classical musicians who apparently have a similar idea of honoring Jewish composers, Jewish cultures through musical celebration. What was unique about that? In order to do that, they came from 3 different countries. The cellist is flying from Spain. The pianist is driving probably from Canada, and the violinist is local. And they came with this absolutely amazing project to sort of connect across geographic boundaries for this concert. They're gonna perform music by Felix Mendelssohn, Ernest Bloch, George Gershwin, and beyond. So it's gonna happen this Sunday at 2 o'clock. I will have a pleasure to hear this concert with you. So I hope to see you tonight and Sunday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Rabbi Judy Ehrlich.
Hello, everybody. I would like to tell you about 3 events of a different sort. On Tuesday, May 16th at 2 o'clock, the Interfaith Planning Committee is happy to announce that we will have a follow-up program that we had run in the spring, which was about Passover and Easter and Ramadan, but we didn't have a Muslim speaker to present on Ramadan. And now we do. We have a very distinguished speaker, Dr. Said Razvi, and he will be talking about the meaning and his experience of Ramadan. I think it will be a really interesting lecture, and I know there'll be time for Q&A, and I encourage you to look for the flyer that will be coming out and to come. Next, on May 23rd in the evening, it's a Tuesday night, Raya Drebin and her Hebrew-speaking friends will be gathering again for Hebrew speakers dinner in the Nash. You don't have to be totally fluent in Hebrew, but if you can hold a conversation, even if it's a little bit not perfect, you would be very welcome to come. Please contact me or Raya to let us know this so that we can make sure that a seat is reserved for you at a table. It will take place in Nash, and it's on Turkey night. So a lot of good reasons to come. And that'll, I'll be sending out a letter to those who I know have participated in the past, but if you are interested and have never tried it, this might just be the occasion. May 23rd in the evening for dinner. And one more thing will be on May 26th. I'm sure that all of you are wondering, what are the plans for Shavuot? Well, I'll tell you, it's 3 weeks away. We will be having a Shavuot morning service with Yizkor on Friday, the 26th of May. And then on Friday night, the 26th of May, we won't have our regular Shabbat evening service because we will have had one in the morning, but we will have traditional blessings and candle lighting and wine and challah, and then we'll have a Shavuot communal dinner in Great Meadow Hall. It'll have a wonderful dairy menu, which is traditional on Shavuot, as well as lactose-free options for those who need them. And information will be coming out both in a flyer from me as well as the foodie next week. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on what's coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Matt, we're ready for you. And if you take the record number that I've seen here of 124 pictures and add in the doubles, we're over 130 present today. That's a good audience for you.
I was going to say the same thing, Jerry. I can't believe that I've got 130 people that want to hear anything I have to say. So this is something else. So hello, Newbridge. I hope you are all doing very well. It's good to see your smiling faces. I was out for a few days with a cold, a nasty cold. You would think I got it from camping with my children. However, that got canceled, which was awesome. And it worked out because I didn't feel well anyway. So, but I'm back at it. So if you haven't seen me in the community this week too much, I've kind of been hiding out because I don't want to share this with anybody, number one. And number two, the irony of it. Masks come off and I get sick. Go figure. So, but here we are. The normal COVID update. We do not have any COVID cases right now in independent living or assisted living. The Commonwealth is doing incredibly well. Our county itself has seen a 20% decline over the last 14 days of cases here within Norfolk County. Right now, the positivity rate is 109 people are testing positive with COVID out of 100,000 individuals. So this is as low as I think we have seen it in quite some time. I think the weather is certainly playing a nice part. People are getting outside and we're starting to resume a normal semblance of what life existed like before COVID. So thank you for everyone's patience. I'll continue to update you on this weekly chat so you can have an idea what's happening within the community, within the county and the Commonwealth at large. But so that's great news. Now, if I'm sitting in your seats, I'm asking myself the question, are we having a vaccine booster clinic? And if so, when? So I'm going to invite David Rader to jump on and share a couple words about that, because in the background, he has been working on that with our partners from Dedham Pharmacy. David.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Thank
Hi,
you.
everybody. So mark down the date of May 25th is going to be the date of our booster clinic. It's going to be held in the aerobic studio this year. And you will receive a participation form by the latest on this coming Monday. It could happen before then. We are going to be offering both the Moderna and the Pfizer. So we've done so many of these clinics, we could probably teach a class on it. So we have a planning meeting with our team tomorrow, and then the word will be coming out shortly about that. So May 25th. Matt, while I have the floor, I'm wondering if I can make just a couple of other quick announcements.
Sure, David.
Okay. First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for participating in our recent customer satisfaction survey. We got 190 responses, which was fantastic. And it shows the level of engagement we have in our community. That was about 25 more than we had last year. So we're in the process of crunching the results, and we'll be able to share that with you shortly. Third, I want to invite everybody to our program this Saturday at 2 o'clock, where the Community Life team partners with the Hospitality Committee. We have a fun program planned of trivia, which we did back in November, and it was a lot of fun. So come this Saturday at 2 o'clock. I'll be there along with our friends from the Hospitality Committee, and it's going to be a good time. And then finally, as many of you know, last year we planted the final tree in our Sylvia Band Members Grove last June. So while we don't have any more trees to plant, This very small window that we're in, starting in the beginning of May, is where the trees actually blossom. And they are a gorgeous color. So if you're driving in that area, make sure to stop and appreciate, or if you're walking in that space, because this is only here for a week or two. So enjoy. So that's all I have. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Jerry, I see a hand up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Judy. No, wait a minute. We have to unmute you. Go ahead. You're okay
I
now.
tried to do it myself. I have a question for David Rader. I heard today that the vaccine for the RSV virus has been approved for our age group. And I'm wondering if Newbridge is going to be doing anything about that. I had it. It's pretty awful. So I'd like to make sure that there are some plans or that we have to get it on our own.
Matt, do you want to take that one? Because
Yeah, I'd be happy to take it one. Judy, I saw that same news come out this morning as well. I guess it's GlaxoSmithKline that came out with it this morning. We have not made plans to offer a clinic here. If that is something you all would like, we can look into it and have a conversation with Dedham Pharmacy while they're doing the clinic. I will say this, and it's not directly related to your answer, Judy. So the answer is, if you all want it and it makes sense for us to bring in a clinic, we'll do that. If you don't want to wait, please see your primary care physician, particularly if you've had RSV in the past or feel like you are susceptible to it. It's definitely a tough one. Back to the COVID side of the shop. This is, again, another series of the bivalent booster. Assisted living had theirs recently, and it went well. Some of the residents had more fatigue than they had in the past for that 24 hours after the vaccine. So just prepare when you sign up that you might feel a little bit lousy for 24 hours, and that's generally been the case with the vaccine for many people. Just a friendly reminder, because that can be a tough one. So every time I've been vaccinated, I felt lousy for a day. And then, I don't know where it just went away. So keep that in mind. Next week, starting on Monday, is something really cool here on campus, and it's Employee Week. And we spend the entire week celebrating our employees and showing our appreciation for them. So you're going to see things happening all around the campus, like barbecues for the employees, even barbecues during the overnight hours for the employees in the service corridors. You're going to see flowers given out to them. You're going to see ice cream being delivered to them. You're going to see all sorts of different events happening on campus to show our employees how much we appreciate them. So join in the fun. Say you appreciate them as well, like you do all the time. Just know that we're not ignoring you. It's just,
Okay, and I'm gonna bring more in.
Yeah.
it's just a campus-wide event that's taking place to honor our employees. Along the same lines, the last couple of weeks, or probably the last 4 weeks, I've been talking about the Employee Impact Award, which you've seen the red boxes at the front desks in assisted living, the concierge desk, as well as here in the community center. And those boxes are an opportunity for fellow employees, family members, and residents to acknowledge employees' hard work. Now, here's why I'm sharing this with you, not only because we want you to continue to do it, but we got 50 nominations on this first go round, which is fantastic. Of those 50 nominations, about 35 of them came from residents, which is absolutely phenomenal. So what's going to happen is I hold an employee town hall meeting, and we'll choose the winners then that will receive a $300 gift card. But in addition to that, we'll acknowledge everybody that has been recognized, which is really kind of special. So thank you for taking the time to do it. Please continue to do it. I want to talk for a second, and by me, I mean Fernando, about the life cycle renovation happening in the villas, just to give the community an update on what that process looks like. We're, of course, learning as we go, so let's take you along with us. Fernando.
Thanks, Matt. Hello, everyone. As Matt was saying, we started the villa life cycle renovation this week. Actually, it's going better than we thought it would, to be quite honest with you. We started in the 1000 building. The painting will be completed on all 3 floors either today or sometime tomorrow. What we did was today, they actually sent some of that crew over to the 2000 building to start prepping and painting over there. Flooring will be coming in on next Wednesday, so they were replacing the flooring on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They'll be starting on the 3rd floor and working their way down. The furniture, however, is on back order. The furniture won't be here till sometime the end of July. But as I said, we're moving forward and we're making progress, and I'm happy with what's going on.
Great job, Fernando. It's a very large project, and we appreciate your support. I'm going to mention 2 more things, and then I'm going to give you all back the gift of time. The first one is I heard that there's an increase in scam calls happening, and not just here in the community, but at the community at large, outside the walls of Newbridge. Right now, there's a lot of scam artists happening with artificial intelligence and voice spoofing and number spoofing. So if somebody calls you asking for money or some kind of dire situation, just a reminder to trust your gut. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not. And you can always reach out to security and they will offer you guidance. But this stuff is coming up more and more. And so I just want to remind everybody that that's important. Lastly, I sent out a letter earlier in the week announcing our new CEO and president, Steve Landers. It's very exciting. I actually had the opportunity to spend quite some time with Steve during the interview process, and I was blown away by him. I thought he was a really down-to-earth, nice, approachable person. He was brilliant. What I really liked about him was he knew how to look at things in the space in between and ask questions. And it showed that he was a very quick read of things. More than anything, I think he's just a really good citizen. And I think he's a great cultural fit for us here at HSL. So the plan is Steve begins his first day on July 23rd. He'll officially become the CEO president on that date, but Lou will stay connected through the whole transition. So Lou will be training Steve. So you'll probably hear the both of them doing things in tandem for quite a while. Steve, I believe, will be living in the president's house on this campus for a little while until his family relocates and they'll be coming here. He's from New Jersey. And so we're excited to have him. There was a massive search committee put out to find him, and there was an exorbitant amount of applications, and it took quite a bit of time. And poor Steve, he must have gone through 100 interviews, but apparently he really wants it, and so he's going to be joining us. So I look forward to welcoming him to the community, and hopefully we can get him here, and maybe we can roast him as a community or something like that and introduce him to Newbridge the way we'd like to. But I just wanted you all to know what's happening in the HSL world. So outside of that, not much more to report, other than I hope the 120 of you that have stayed on throughout this call have gotten some good information, and thanks for putting up with me.
Thanks. Are there any other questions before we sign off?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, Bob Weinstein.
Is Josh still on, or Josh? If Josh is gone, I'll ask the question of Matt, okay?
Go ahead, ask the question.
He might be hiding, Bob.
Well, you know, Copper Beach was set up and they eliminated the community table. But at the community table, you could order plain chicken, plain salmon. You didn't have to order the menu items that were cooked in sauce and but might be detrimental to your health. And so I've asked Josh if he could look into having, as part of the Copper Beach, an item, whether chicken one night or salmon one night or something without the sauce, so that people who used to be able to sit at the community table and order those things can order them in Copper Beach. Patrick has said to me he could do it if the upper people let him.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know, Bob. I'll follow up with Josh after this call.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll see you all next week.
Wait.
What's wait?
Can I ask a question? You mentioned this orchard that's going to be in bloom this coming week. I don't know where the orchard is located. Could somebody put up a map and just indicate where the one drives?
Hi, David. So I'll walk you there if you can't find it. But if you're coming from the community center and you're heading towards the Rashi School, before you get to the three-way stop sign, the tree grove is on your left.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jerry, I have one thing.
Already.
And David, it is already in bloom, so hurry up.
Okay,
Beautiful.
thank you.
All right, Faye Busgang, go
Yes,
ahead.
I noticed that there's another, more new members that are residents who are on the Zoom today, and I hope they haven't signed off already. The Betty Goals. Are you still here, Betty Goals? Bryna and Bruce Betty Goal, are you here? Yes, I see you. Okay,
Yes.
so I would like to introduce you also as new residents. You're also in cottages, in a cottage, and just tell us very briefly about yourselves.
Go. We came from Providence, Rhode Island, to leave a split level house where there were a lot of stairs, and a corner cottage came up and we grabbed it. I don't know anything else you want to know.
So Bruce, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, the only thing I can add is we have maybe the cutest dog on the campus. This is-
Oh,
this is
okay.
Wag.
Oh, so we have another another dog to go on the dog rostrum. Okay,
Are you
well-
in the former Medley cottage?
Pardon
Which
me?
cottage are you in?
Which cottage are you in?
Oh, 57.
Yeah, it's Jerome's former one. And also Arnold and Rebecca have a dog that
Oh.
looks like your dog, I think.
Very good.
Okay, we're gonna
You're
say
welcome.
goodbye. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
Goodbye. We'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Thanks, Jerry.